Welcome back, nerds. We're your hosts this week. I am Chad.
And I am Jake.
This week we are sponsored by Ray's Energy Drinks.
We are also sponsored by Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce.
This week I got the opportunity to sit down and talk with Adam Realman. He is the dean as well as a professor at the Coney Island Sideshow School.
This week we're also going to be talking about Disney Plus Day. There's a lot of news to talk about. We'll get into it a little bit later.
And a little something extra outside of the Disney Plus Day, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just a lot of upcoming cool shit.
Absolutely.
But yeah, let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast.
Nerd. Welcome back, nerds, to the All Things Nerd podcast, your weekly dive into all things that are nerd. So, Jake, how was this week for you?
This week has been pretty good. Unfortunately, I do want to mention for the interview that we're going to talk about in a little bit here, I was not able to take part in this interview.
How dare you?
I promised my services elsewhere for that day, and I thought it was only going to take me until about like 2 or 3 in the morning, in the morning, 2 or 3 in the afternoon. But it ended. I didn't get home until like almost 10 o'clock p.m. So it took me all day.
Yeah,
I was installing wood flooring in my girlfriend's bedroom for her, which it looks great. But Chad had
it does
texted
look
me
good. He showed me pictures.
Chad was like, "Are you gonna make it home by 7?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." And then at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I was like, I'm about halfway done. I don't think I'm going to make it by 7. So, Chad went solo on this interview. I'm sorry for that, guys. Other than that, my week has been great. It did snow here.
Which means that it snowed here, like, the next day. Gross. Okay. I'm all for snow. I like snow. I don't have boots.
I haven't had boots in years. Who cares? If you're from Minnesota, you don't need
Minnesota.
Boots. I've been wearing my Chuck Taylors for like 4 years in the snow.
Well, that's because you're a true punk rocker, okay? Go back to CBGBs in the 90s.
I know that we both went and saw the latest and final in the franchise Bond movie this past week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite.
Spoilers.
Daniel Craig. Yeah, spoiler alert.
It is called No Time to Die, and that's because
he found some time. Sorry.
Oh, that was perfect.
I mean, it was a really good. I mean, for the Daniel Craig Bond films, which have taken a lot of liberty in creating their own story away from the Ian Fleming books.
Yeah.
They've done really well with doing it. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Roger Moore. Your originals were not. Sorry, Mom. She loves him. I don't know why. But a lot of the Daniel Craig films have been really great, considering that they're all like original outside of Casino Royale. Casino Royale was the best one in my opinion, though.
Same all the way. I think the only thing for me that made this, I loved this movie. I did really enjoy it. All these movies have been super action packed, and this one was as well. But there was not a lot of like hand to hand like combat in this movie.
And the scenes that there were it was a lot more sloppy.
Yeah.
Which I get based on the story. If you guys haven't seen it, I won't get too much into it, but Bond kind of retires for a while.
Yeah.
Because of that, he's out of practice. So, like, the hand-to-hand is very sloppy.
Yeah.
It's not as great. Also, like, the last, like, minute or two of this movie could have been cut.
Oh, yeah.
And I would have loved the movie even better. It just ends on, like, a cheesy, like, Hallmark moment.
It was also very cheeky, the whole movie, which is how Bond is supposed to be. So I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's sarcastic. He's overly cocky.
Until he, found some time. That cockiness disappeared real fast.
And in a really bright light. That handle's so hot right now.
Other than that, the only thing that we really wanted to mention was Red Notice. Netflix's Red Notice released. I watched it. Chad did not. So
I have not.
Go into it. But it was, as Chad mentioned to me earlier, was Netflix's largest opening movie of all time, which is pretty dope. So good for you, Netflix.
Well, good for you, Ryan Reynolds. Let's be honest. He's a marketing genius.
Do you think TikTok has made Ryan Reynolds even more famous?
Oh, hands down.
Like, the women love Ryan Reynolds because he's gorgeous. But now this giant, like, trend on TikTok is how
if you don't love Ryan Reynolds, like,
it's how attractive men also find Ryan Reynolds. So,
I mean,
he's a national treasure.
It might be from Canada. He's
ours now.
Yeah, Canada. He is. He really is. You tell your prime minister to tell the queen, because that's how it works, I guess.
Yeah.
He's ours. No, he's great at marketing, and he's hilarious.
Funny.
And I'm excited. I'm gonna watch it here. By the time this airs, I'll have watched it.
Yeah, I won't say anything other than that. It's Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds. It's hilarious. It's action packed. It's predictable, but it's good. So
that's fair.
Go check that out, guys.
Yeah. With that being said, we do really want to get into this interview with Adam Realman. Guys, it was so much fun. But before we get into it, we do have to tell you about our first sponsor, which is Raise Energy Drinks. We've beat this into your guys' heads for months now.
Beat it into your heads.
Yeah.
Just viciously beating it into your heads.
Oh, I'm so excited that Adam's going to share this because he's also a teacher. He's going to be like, oh, what did I sign up for?
You can cut that out. You can definitely cut that out.
I'm not going to. He can.
Okay.
Shit. But you guys have heard us talk about Raise Energy Drinks for a long time. Fantastic energy drinks. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 crash. But it's so much more than that now. They've got protein-packed desserts, pre-workout, protein, just like protein powder. So many supplements, and it's all fantastic. They have so many... Since we've started working with them as a sponsor, they've added so many more new flavors as well. It's so great. So listen up. You'll learn how to save 15% on your order, and we'll be right back with you with our interview with Adam Realman. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Raise Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with 0 crash. Raise Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful, yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, and powered by their Refresh formula technology, Raise Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Raise Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you. All right, guys, welcome back. We have a really awesome guest for you this week. We've got Adam Realman. He's the Dean and Professor of the Coney Island Sideshow School. So, Adam, thank you so much for being on this week. We really appreciate you being here.
Cool. So this is like a nerd podcast. You don't look like a nerd.
Well, I do what I can. I've got my nerd stuff behind me. I kind of dabble a little all over the place, but yeah, we like to talk about all things that can be considered nerdy. Myself and Jake we grew up with like the comic books and movies and stuff like that. So we're here to learn more about other nerds, I guess.
All right, I'm hanging up.
Perfect. And that was it, guys.
I'm probably more of a geek than a nerd in certain aspects. I mean, I'm not much into the comic books, though. I do like Mad Magazine paperbacks. And that's probably as close to comics as I get.
But yeah, so Adam, tell our listeners a little bit about who you are.
Wow. All right. Who am I? This is what an esoteric question here.
Right. Very vague, very broad.
Yeah, I need to light up a little tobacco pipe and sit here and puff on it as I pontificate about who I am. So I am Adam, and I grew up in Coney Island back in the 70s and 80s. So, I'm no youngster, as the gray beard can attest. And came across the sideshow probably in the early mid 80s and was just enamored by it. Loved it. Just, it was a world unlike anything I'd ever seen. And, it was just weird because growing up in Coney Island, it really is the best backyard in the world. I mean, it's not a traditional backyard per se. I mean, it's not my own property, but a block off of the apartment where I grew up in was the boardwalk. And, you walk the boardwalk, you go the side streets and under the train tracks. I mean, all that stuff, under the boardwalk is closed now, under the train tracks part, the areas we used to cut through is closed. But these were the shortcuts, and you would just, kind of dart your way around. And I end up in Coney Island. And there's a sideshow there, like one day out of the blue. And there's a guy outside talking, this deep Southern drawl about what you can see on the inside. And it's like, I'll go in. It's cool. And it was, oh my God, what the hell is it? It wasn't a magic show. I mean, this is a guy swallowing swords and a guy hammering nails into his face. And Otis Jordan, who was billed when I saw him as the Human Cigarette Factory, but when he was working sideshows in the 60s, was known as the Frog Boy. And he had, arms that didn't work and legs that didn't work. And, very like stubby little arms and legs. And they'd wheel him out in a wheelchair. And if you've ever seen the movie Freaks, it was an act that Prince Randian did where he would roll a cigarette using his mouth, his lips, and his tongue, and then light the cigarette. Again, no use of hands, no use of nothing else, just his mouth. And he would roll the cigarette, light the cigarette, with a match, smoke it, and tell you a little about his story. And it was like, well, this is incredible. Yeah. And fast forward some, give or take, 15 years later, I see on the internet, Sideshow School, you can learn how to swallow swords and walk on glass and spit big balls of fire. And I took the class. I said, I'll give this a shot. I mean, I sort of drifted out of it for a few years, but once I saw that, it really kind of piqued my interest again. And took the class, learned how to do all these acts, and about 5-6 years later, was approached to teach the class. They said, well, you've learned everything there is to learn. You've mastered it. You're really good at it. Can you teach the class? And I taught the class. The professor who taught me, Todd Robbins, went on to some other projects. So, there was a hole in that. And they asked me to fill in. Todd's coincidentally back with the organization now, which is a great thing. And so I've been teaching this class now for about 14 years, give or take.
That's awesome.
And and through that, I've learned additional acts that weren't taught in the class, and various escapes and feats of strength, and so I've got a full show, unlike anyone who's performing. I mean, there's not too many people who are doing as much as what I do. I'm sure that there are, but not too many.
Awesome. So then you said that you have a wide range of things that you know how to do. What's your favorite performance or sideshow act to put on?
Well, all right. One of my, I mean, of course, sword swallowing is probably the most requested. People, believe it or not, people have never seen a real live sword swallow. They've seen it on America's Got Talent. They've seen it on television, on the internet. But when I do shows, I'll ask, how many of you have seen a real live sword swallower? And it's really a handful in every show. I mean, most people have never really seen one. I like sword swallowing. My favorite act is probably a thing where I eat half a pack of lit cigarettes, followed by a handful of napkins, followed by a drink. And usually that, depending on the venue, some venues will absolutely not want you to smoke in them. Some are like, well, you're on stage, so you can smoke, and if it's an outdoor venue, it's fine. But I that's a favorite act of mine because it's just a bizarre act. It's really
that sounds really
crazy act. There was a magician, Tom Mullica, who I mean, it was his act. He taught the act, and I had been doing this act. It's my version of his act.
Okay.
And I was out in Vegas doing a magic show. Jeff McBride, who's an unbelievable magician, and I was doing the act at his show. And Eugene Berger. I mean, these are names that, if you're a magic nerd, this is not the Magic Nerd podcast, but if you're a magic nerd, you're like, yeah, I know Jeff McBride, I know Eugene Berger. And Eugene Berger is he passed away, a true scholar of magic and performance. And I finished the set, and he I did that. I did some strongman feats and whatnot. And he pulls me over. The show is still going on. My set was done. He grabs me like this thick Chicago. He had like a big white beard. He was almost like a sage, And he calls me over this thick Chicago accent. He goes, "You've got such beautiful stage presence," And I can't do the accent, but and coincidentally, the amazing Jonathan, another great magician, his wife was at the show. She saw the act. She said, "Hey, I'm going to hang out with Tom Mullica tomorrow. Do you want to come?" And I'm like, yeah, but I got like a 9:00 flight, so there's no way. And then Tom Mullica passed away soon thereafter.
Oh.
But I was kind of bummed about that. But I did email him when I first learned the act, first started doing the act, with some pictures, and I just thanked him. I said, thank you for making this. This is my version of your act. And he responded with a beautiful email. He said, I hope it opens as many doors for you as it has for me. And I mean, it probably hasn't, but but it was nice of him to say that. So.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I'll usually, so if I start the show with that, I end blowing up a hot water bottle. Now, those rubber hot water bottles, you fill it with hot water, you got aches and pains, you put it on, you feel a little better because from the heat.
Oh, yeah.
I'll blow it up like you might blow up a balloon. And I mean, this thing can get as big as a basketball when it pops, or as big as a cow's behind.
Wow.
And I don't know, and it just boom, that's it.
It just goes until it
pops. Goes till it can't go no more.
Yeah, there you go. For sure. Are there any crazy or insane stories that just stick out to you of something that just blew your mind, or anything that just would still, when you look back on it, just wows you?
I mean, over the year, I've been performing for about 20 years. Over the years, I've met a lot of very interesting people, both celebrities and other, just people that I've become friendly with, close with as a result of performing. I mean, just this past September, I was booked at Camp John Waters, and John Waters. I've always loved John Waters movies, and to have the chance to perform at an event that he's at was cool. But what made it even cooler was that John Waters, after I swallowed a sword, pulled it out after I swallowed it. So
Wow.
that was a big highlight of the years of performing. Yeah, but I've emceed rock festivals, with bands that I've really dug, for years, and had a chance to meet them. We did a benefit for Coney Island USA. That's they are the not-for-profit arts group in Coney Island that produces the Coney Island Circus Sideshow and the Mermaid Parade every year, and it's countless other programs. And we were doing a benefit for them, and we partnered up with Bowery Electric, which is a club downtown. And Jesse Mallon, one of the owners of the club, he's a musician. I used to go see his band Degeneration back in the 90s. And through a mutual friend, we were able to partner up with him and his club to produce this show. And it was a streaming event. And we handled the circus and the burlesque and the sideshow, and he handled the rock. And I got to meet Lenny Kaye from the Patti Smith group, and Lenny Kaye, who did the Nugget Records compilation, and that was like a thrill. I
Yeah.
brought a Nuggets record for him to sign. Michael Imperioli from Sopranos was his band played. I got to hang out with him for a bit, and we became friendly. So it's just an interesting road that you take, where you meet these interesting people, and you become friendly with them.
So you'd mentioned, Coney Island USA. Tell us a little bit more about that. That's the nonprofit that puts on like
All
the
right.
sideshow and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit
Yeah,
more.
so Coney Island USA is in its 40th year, give or take. I need to be better versed on the history of this. But, it started roughly 40 years ago. And it's Coney Island's only not for profit arts organization. So, spring through fall, the big program is the Coney Island Circus Sideshow, freaks, wonders, and human curiosities, the likes of which your eyes have never seen before. So, we operate the sideshow in June, right at the solstice is the Mermaid Parade, the world's largest art parade, which it's approaching. Again, I think, I don't know if it's the 40th year, and I think next year will be the 40th parade, because we didn't have one this past year. So,
Okay, yeah.
COVID kind of trumps it all, but whatever. I mean, hopefully we're done. Not a good expression, but COVID is, oh well. Hopefully we're over and done with. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So it prevented us from having a parade, and so it really is a very unique arts organization out in the middle, because the mission here is to preserve what Coney, like the oddness and the originality and the bizarrety, if that's even a word, but it is now,
It is now,
of
exactly.
what Coney Island used to be. The neighborhood's changed for better. Some say for worse, for better, for worse. I mean, over the years, it's like a roller coaster ride.
Hmm.
But we're the ones that keep Coney Island weird and cool.
Okay, for sure. And then, I mean, you mentioned, last year there was no parade. You mentioned, how COVID kind of shut that down. So how did, you know, Coney Island USA and the sideshow and just Coney Island as a whole, how did that survive through COVID? Like, what did that look like for you guys?
It was bad. I mean, if we go back to the summer of 2020, we knew by, I guess, May that we weren't going to have a season. The world basically shut down in March,
Hmm.
and things are crawling. April, what are we doing? May, what are we doing? June, we're not doing anything. We're done. Hunker down, stay safe, and let's figure this out. Um, and then we attempted to open this past summer. We had a few events and we ran the sideshow for a few weekends. And, unfortunately, we had pop-up case. What do they call breakout, breakthrough, pop-up cases? Whatever the phrase is.
Yeah.
You're vaccinated, but you're still getting a case.
Yeah.
We what is it called? Breakthrough, breakout,
It
breakout,
might be breakout. That
breakout.
sounds right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a string of those, and we said, you know what, the risk isn't worth the reward. It's let's just go dark. Let's just shut down, and everything was off. I mean, the business in the entire neighborhood was off. So everything was down 50 to 60%.
Oh,
The
wow.
amusements were down, and it's because really we were pulling in. I say we, but the neighborhood was pulling in locals. You weren't getting tourists. You weren't getting international tourists. You really weren't getting domestic tourists. So
Yeah.
the 40 to 50% of the community's business, I should say the amusement district's business, is tourism.
Yeah.
And without that, so some of the amusements were open, and from what I understand, it was kind of hard to staff at certain times, and again, business was down, but we're all looking forward to a successful summer season, moving forward into 22.
Yeah.
I mean, the unique thing about Coney Island, I think, is that most of the amusement management owners or operators all know each other and really work together to try to, really boost the entire neighborhood. It's not, my business versus your business versus, his and her. It's a community, and
Yeah.
everyone knows one another. The lines of communication are always open, and we work together, really, like I said, to push everything forward, to make it a great place for everybody.
Yeah. So with that being said, I mean, what are things that like listeners or just fans of the sideshow, how are ways that they can get involved, to help, that comeback?
Well, that's a good question. All right. I mean, you can certainly check us out at coneyisland.com. Become a member. Memberships have their benefits. At a higher level membership, you get a seat at the judges stand for the Mermaid Parade, which is, again, always a blast.
Yeah.
We have a benefit, a museum, Coney Island Museum fundraiser coming up. It's an online event on December 11th. And is this going to air before that, or?
Yes, it will.
All right, good. So, all you listeners out there, December 11th, coneyisland.com, we're doing an auction. And the cool thing about this auction is we're auctioning off art, we're auctioning off photographs, but we're auctioning off unique Coney Island experiences. Now, this is where things get cool, because Wonder Wheel Park, I mean, the Vorderis family who runs Wonder Wheel Park, good friends of ours, wonderful, wonderful family and wonderful people. And, what do you need? Maybe you'll get some, we'll auction off some ride tickets, but the unique experience is you will get to go into Spookorama, the dark ride, with the lights on, and get a walking tour of the ride, of the inside of that ride. Now, I mean, how rare is that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool. We got the Cyclones to give us tickets for a ball game, and you will get to throw out the first pitch. So we're looking for unique Coney Island experience. Oh, here's another cool one that we're doing. You bid high enough, you will have a chance to MC one performance of the Coney Island Circus Sideshow along with the real host. So, we'll give you 4 tickets for your buddies to come out, watch the show, and you get to bring on the acts. I mean, where else are you going to get that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. You got these, people who are really into the sideshow, these sideshow nerds and geeks like I was as a kid. Something I would have bid on before I became the real man.
There you go. So this is kind of out of order. I meant to ask it earlier, but we just got to talking, and I'm just super intrigued. Does it take special skills, like predetermined, like, I guess this is gonna sound weird, but like throat structure, or can anyone learn how to swallow swords?
Yes. Anyone can learn how to swallow a sword.
Okay.
But I mean, what you put into it is what you'll get out of it. So if you're not fully committed to being able to do this act, to learning the act, to mastering the act, you're never going to be able to do it. When I teach it, I explain that it's the closest, learning to swallow a sword is as close to quitting smoking as you can imagine. And I mean, how do you compare the two? But I'll explain. When you're looking to quit, I don't know if you've ever been a smoker.
Yeah.
But, I've been on and off for too long. I'm off now, but, I can go back like that. But in order to quit smoking, you need 2 things. You need mind and body control. Now, the cigarette has that nicotine. The nicotine is the chemical that, you take a puff of the cigarette, it goes right up to your head saying, this is great. All right. So that is a chemical response. You need to break the chemical response, and that's out of your body in 3 to 5 days. But now it's the habits that you have that will keep you smoking that cigarette. So you get up in the morning with your cup of coffee. Oh, there's nothing like a cigarette and a cup of coffee. Now you walk into the train or you're in your car going to work. You need a cigarette. And now you get out of the train and you get out. Oh, I'm 5 minutes from work. Yeah, let me have another cigarette. So you can't break one without the other. You need them both. Now, when it comes to swallowing a sword, it's again, mind and body control. You can train the gag reflex so that the gag reflex eventually will be a lot easier to accommodate a sword. But the mind control, if you don't convince yourself that what you're doing is okay, if you don't convince yourself that you really want to do this and you really want to succeed, your mind is going to talk your body out, and you'll just keep gagging and gagging and gagging, and you're never going to get it down.
Interesting.
So, in short, yes, anyone can do it.
Okay. Along those lines, yeah, go for it.
Well, all right. I'm just going to cut you off here. I've had students who have mastered it within a matter of minutes, and I've had students who, over the course of months, have never been able to do it. So again, it's what you are willing to do to yourself. The first time now you're not training with a sword, you're training with an implement that's a lot more flexible. So that if you do manage to get it down and you retch, you move your neck, this implement is going to move with you. It's going to bend with you.
Yeah.
So that it's not a straight sword that's now going to puncture your esophagus. And I remember the first time that I did it. I get the sword down just past the voice box over there, and it literally feels like the voice box shifted outwards like 3 inches. Now, it's impossible. I mean, you've got an implement that's, thinner than a pencil that you're, gagging yourself with and putting down there, but it feels like the whole thing is shifting. And it's like, what the hell? And I remember, getting it down to this point here, and it just felt bizarre pulling it right out. And then pausing and thinking and saying, well, if I got it down this far, I can keep going. I mean, that's one of the hardest parts to get it past.
Yeah.
And the next time it went down a little far, and then it just went down the whole way. It took me the better part of a year to be able to master it, to get it fluid where I'm not gagging, I'm not retching, I'm not, belching up food. But I mean, I got time for one story, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I was doing a show. This is fairly, or certainly within the first year and a half to 2 years of when I started performing. And at that point, I really had to go about 5 hours from the time that I ate to the time that I swallowed swords. I just wasn't comfortable, getting a sword down and with food in my system. Now, I mean, I can literally, eat 4 slices of pizza, get up on stage, swallow swords, I'm fine. But, back then it didn't work. And I had falafel for dinner. And 2 hours later, I'm on stage doing a show, and falafel is refluxogenic. It's full of the Middle Eastern spices. I mean, it's delicious, but
Yeah.
not something that you really want to eat before swallowing a sword. And I get that sword down, and I pull it back up, and up comes a mouthful of chewed falafel.
Gross.
Now you got to make a decision. You're going to swallow a spit. And it went right back down. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Oof.
No one knew except me. And it's like, oh, it burns.
Oh my goodness. I can imagine. And it's not as enjoyable a second time down, I bet.
No. Now, Nutella, on the other hand, Nutella is just as good going back up. So, if you've ever thrown up Nutella, it tastes just as good.
I'm sure that I have, but I don't recall the flavor.
Yeah. No,
But I can see why.
I had a few, it's quite a few years ago, few Bloody Marys too much. And, but they were loaded with horseradish, which is, horseradish and Tabasco. And it burned coming back. But the Nutella tasted really good.
Perfect. Oh my goodness.
How do you? Where do you go from here?
Well, I mean, are there any other stories from when you were first starting out that really stand out to you that might encourage or inspire someone who's wanting to get into this, or any scary stories that stand out of
Oh yeah, I mean, so over the years, if you want to do this type of performance, I mean, again, this isn't magic. I mean, magic is amazing. Magic is its own discipline. So you need a different skill set to master sleight of hand. I don't do sleight of hand. It took me the better part of a year to be able to rip through a deck of cards, cutting my hands, callousing my hands, training. But I'll sit there daily, trying to rip through a deck of cards. Your hands eventually will get arthritic. But I don't have the patience to sit and manipulate a coin or manipulate a deck of cards to do card. It's just not within my. I can't. I'm not wired for that. I'll destroy something sooner than I can. Look good practicing with it, or just whatever it is. But over the years, I'm performing 20 years. Over the course of 20 years, I've scratched my throat 3 times, and I'll tell you a little about that because it's not pleasant. The first time. Was within the first few years that I was performing. I did a show at Caroline's on Broadway. It was it was either Halloween or New Year's Eve. I don't remember. It was like a big show for Luis Jimenez, who, I don't know if he's still around, was considered the Spanish Howard Stern. Okay. And it was either 2 or 3 shows. Maybe it was 2 shows over the course of the night. So basically I was a prisoner at Caroline's the entire night. And I open up the show with sword swallowing. I swallow my first sword, and I scratched myself. I managed to get the other two swords down, but this is the first time that I had scratched myself swallowing a sword. And within minutes, it feels like you've got a marble caught right in your throat. Within the hour, that marble feels like a golf ball in your throat. And you can't swallow, and you can barely talk, you can't eat, you can't drink. And I had another show to do. And I asked I like the manager, the person who booked me, listen, I'm not doing too good. Can I swap this act out for something else? And I was told, no, your contract says you're going to swallow swords. You're going to swallow swords. All right. So I'm mad. I don't know. I have no idea how I managed to do that, but I managed to get the next set of swords down for the next show. Didn't bother going to a doctor at that point. About 2 weeks later, the swelling, a week and a half to 2 weeks later, the swelling went down and I was fine. The next time it happened was about 5 or 6 years ago. And again, I was doing a show, and the second sword of the show, I have someone pull the sword out after I swallow it. And she must have pulled it out on an angle, whatever it was. Again, I felt my throat scratch and it started to swell up. This time I went to an ENT within the week. And he gave me he scoped me like a camera that goes through your nose. I'm like, oh, let me do it. I know how to do this. And I, shoved it into the nose. He told me when to stop, and he took the video, took the pictures. He says, hey, you're swollen. It's red. Did you have, chest pains? No. Did you have fever? No. Did you go to the hospital? No. It's like your immune system must be through the roof, because most people with a scratch like that and swelling like that would have been hospitalized. Heavy duty antibiotics, lay off for about a month, you'll be fine. Sure enough, that's what happened. The last time we were coming out of COVID springtime, it was one of my first shows kind of back into things.
Okay.
And the same thing this time, I must have done it to myself, and no one pulled the sword out. I felt it scratch, and I guess all it takes really is just to lose your focus for a split second. I don't know, maybe I waited a day or two, because I was trying to convince myself that, well, it's not really so bad, but it was. And I waited a couple of days, went to, one of these immediate cares. And I had to convince the PA who was working, because they didn't have an endoscopy machine.
Okay.
So I had to convince her that I needed an antibiotic. I said, listen, I'm a sword swallower. This is what I do. This has happened to me. This is the third time in 20 years that it's happened to me. I have a video on my phone of me getting an endoscopy while swallowing a sword. And I showed her the video. I said, look, this is legit. I know what I'm doing. I know what's wrong. All I need is an antibiotic. I said, I can't get to my ENT until midweek. I need to start this today. I mean, it took some convincing, and I had to sign a letter saying that I would be treated by an ENT, but she did prescribe the antibiotic. And again, knowing what she was concerned, well, what if you perforate? I said, I didn't perforate. I'm not spitting up blood. I'm not having trouble breathing. It's a scratch. That's all it is. But a scratch is bad. I mean, a scratch will hurt. So I convinced her to give me the antibiotic. And again, within, it was like a 10-day antibiotic. You finish that by the 7th or 8th day, the throat, you could really feel the swelling go down, lay off for a few weeks. I was fine.
Wow. That's so insane. Do you know any other performers that have actually like perforated or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
goodness.
I mean, for there was a period of time about 17 years ago, give or take, where you would be on these like sideshow groups, like these message boards. This is kind of, I guess, pre-Facebook, maybe it was MySpace or whatever these message boards were. And it seemed like every couple of months someone was perforating or certainly scratching, but doing far worse by a perforation. Chris Steele, who is a sword swallower in Atlanta. The Captain and Maybelle is their show. He and his wife, amazing, wonderful, wonderful people, great act. He's been on America's Got Talent. I mean, he went really far in America's Got Talent. And he was doing a sword stack. I don't know how many swords he was swallowing, but one sword is this, then he's swallowing, a stack, 5, 10 swords, whatever it is. And, it starts to get thick. And he perforated and had to have, surgery.
Oh, my goodness.
So, and this was give or take 5, 6 years ago.
That is insane.
But he went right back and got back in the saddle. And as soon as he felt better, and he hit it right up again, and he's doing fine.
Wow.
But no, I mean, it's not a joke. None of this stuff is, some of it is easier to do than others. Some of the feats are easy. I won't call them tricks because they're not tricks. They're feats. They're, you want to call them stunts, feats. Some are easier to perform than others. Some are easier to learn. Some are easier to do. But everyone comes with its own risk, with its own danger. I mean, even something as simple as bending a nail, I mean, literally taking a 6-inch nail spike and bending it. I've bent it over my finger. It slipped and the whole hand swelled up. Again, you're out of commission for, a period of time. So,
So I just from this conversation, I've always found it fascinating, but I so much more respect for people that have those skills because just listening to you talk about the things that go into it is you said earlier, you have to have the trust in yourself and to be able to combine the body and mind to do these things. You have to have tremendous trust and focus on yourself and. Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Mind blowing that people are able to do that. I mean, and also thank you for being able to do it and provide entertainment for all these people.
Well, thank you. Thanks for watching it. Thanks for coming to the shows. Thanks for supporting live entertainment.
Yeah. So I guess with that being said, I mean, where can people find you, Adam? Both online, at Coney Island USA, so that they can either come see or learn more or get involved.
You can find me in my den listening to records, unless, of course, I'm on stage. No, I'm on all social media. I also, Twitter, not Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, Adam Realman. And I don't do Twitter or TikTok, though I should, but I got no time for Twitter. I don't even, I don't think in a certain amount of characters. I can't limit myself, as you may be able to tell. And TikTok, I don't know from this. It's for kids, so. But Instagram and Facebook, Adam Realman, AdamRealman.com. And don't forget to check out ConeyIsland.com. We were talking earlier, look into it, become a member, check out our museum fundraiser, check out the auction. We're going to be posting that up within the next couple of days. So, save the date, but the auction items, you're getting a preview here because we didn't even make that public. So, your viewers here, your listeners are getting, some inside information here.
And that, you said that earlier that auction is going to be on the 11th?
So it's the auction's going to be on our website. You'll be able to access it and bid on the website at ConeyIsland.com. And we will end the auction at some point on the 11th during the broadcast between the 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock hour. And then I'll announce the winners over the course of the broadcast.
Okay, fantastic.
So that'll be pretty cool. We'll find out who gets to MC the show one day.
That'd be so cool. All right. Well, Adam, I mean, thank you so much for being on the show. We really, really appreciate it. This has been so fascinating. Links to you will be in our show notes for anyone who's interested that wants to find it quicker. We'll just link to everything in our show notes. And you have any parting words for people that are fascinated by this like I am?
Don't try this at home.
There we go.
You can learn from me, but don't try it at home. And I mean, usually we run the sideshow school in August. We haven't scheduled one yet. We really got to make sure that this COVID thing is past us, because, this is all everything is going into orifices. I mean, the nail in the nose, the swords, torches, and we have to be so careful with this. So,
Yeah.
We want to maintain these traditions. We want to keep doing the school, but we really have to be safe. So that's first and foremost. We can do the dangerous stuff as long as we're healthy.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Adam. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Yeah, thank you so much. Really
Right
appreciate
on.
it.
Thank you.
Right.
That was an awesome interview. I'm sorry I missed it.
I forgive you.
Yeah. Before we get into our second segment here, let's hear from sponsor number 2. Sponsor number 2 is Crybaby Craig's hot sauce, pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes on practically anything. Listen up.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today.
All right, guys, we want to talk about Disney Plus Day. There's a ton of, and not just Disney Plus Day, but just a ton of Marvel, Disney, and more news.
MCU.
What'd you say?
I said MCU. Just being clearly creepy about it. Awesome. Let's forget that happened.
Yeah. First and foremost, I definitely want to talk about, even though this isn't Disney Plus Day, the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer is supposed to drop tomorrow. So I'm stoked about that.
When you guys hear this, it should have dropped already.
Yeah,
sorry.
Sorry. Yeah.
It comes out Tuesday of this week.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The 16th.
Yeah, November 16th.
So if you haven't watched the preview by the time you hear this, go watch the preview because it should be out by the time you hear this.
And how, what makes this so incredible, Jake?
Well, we don't know yet. I know. I think we know, but we don't know what the trailer is going to actually show. But it should hopefully show Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man all together fighting the Sinister Six.
And on top of that, though, this is just insane. They are doing a whole, live event.
Oh, you meant for the preview.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the movie. I was like, wow, I could go on about it for a while.
Well, yeah, there's so many theories out there. I mean, this is probably the number one theory that's going to be confirmed because, I mean, there are pictures of, Tobey Maguire with other cast, predominantly, Zendaya at, the same restaurant with No Way Home banners in the background and shit.
But this is the only Disney/Marvel film to have an entire, I see where you're going with this. They're having a release party just for this preview, which is insane.
Yeah. I think it's because of how much hype is behind it.
Yeah.
And the rumor is it's because Marvel and Disney could not agree on what to put in this trailer.
You mean Disney and Sony?
What did I say? Marvel and Disney?
Yeah.
I did. Okay. Yes, Disney and Sony, Marvel and Sony. My bad. Couldn't agree on what to put in the trailer because, as we know, even with Infinity War and Endgame, Marvel will manipulate footage for their trailers. As we know from Venom, the coolest parts of Venom 2 was the trailer. So Sony's probably like, tell him everything. And Marvel's like, no. And Sony's like, fine, you can't have Spider-Man anymore. And Marvel's like, no.
We'll see how that plays out.
We will.
What else we got coming up, Chad?
We got a teaser for She-Hulk, finally.
Woohoo!
Very, very basic teaser.
Yeah. Small.
But damn, there's actually a lot to like pack into it for what it is. I mean, we get to see her like with as her human form talking with Professor Hulk, Smart Hulk, whatever you want to call him from the MCU. Yep. We get to see her green and buff in a couple of like quick shots, one like all glammed up in a dress,
back shots,
as well as a booty. Yeah, we got some booty.
That's not what I meant by back shots.
No, I know.
Sorry.
I know, but I took it there.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, sorry, Mom. But also, like, the booty.
Yeah.
But in that shot of her, like, it looks like workout attire, but it's comic accurate, at least color-wise, even though they're shorts instead of, like, you know, a thong one piece. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry that we're not going to go 1970s men drawing superhero women. But like the color and design looks right, which is super exciting. But the coolest thing is how the teaser ends. And it's a very like Incredible Hulk TV shows 1970, like the 4.3 ratio or 4:3 ratio. And what does she do?
She breaks the fourth wall. It looks at the camera and says, "Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry," which is what Bruce Banner used to say in the old 70s TV show.
Yeah. And so it looks very like throwback, but also She-Hulk is known in the comics for breaking the fourth wall, which is super cool.
Which is, for those of you who don't know, that's what Deadpool does, where he talks to the audience. This could be kind of a cool open doorway for Deadpool to continue doing his movies the way that he does.
Because he does it to a wide extreme.
Yeah.
And She-Hulk just kind of like does it from time to time to like fill in bits and pieces.
I'm also interested to see how they're going to do, because they show Professor Hulk. They also show in, well, like Shang-Chi, that Banner is back as Mark Ruffalo. So I'm curious what the time frame is, and if he
and even that last scene where they break the fourth wall, he's there as Bruce Banner.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting, because in Endgame he combined Hulk with Banner's intellect and became one. So looks like they figured something else out now. So interesting to see how that's going to play out.
I'm really stoked about it. On top of that, we also get Moon Knight.
Woo! I'm excited.
And by that,
Moon
another
Knight.
teaser. But holy damn, this has like original Marvel Netflix series like vibes to it.
Yeah, Moon Knight. The cool thing about Moon Knight, in my opinion, well, I think anyone's opinion who knows about Moon Knight, is that he is a schizo. He has multiple.
He's dissociative personality disorder, multiple personality
multiple
disorder.
Personalities, and I think it's going to set up a very funny, but also action-packed,
like very dark humor, I would assume.
Yeah. I think it's going to be very similar to like a Deadpool-esque kind of. We'll see.
Yeah,
but,
without like the fourth wall break, like we just mentioned.
Yeah.
But like his personality's talking to himself.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a lot of talking to himself, and I think that'll be kind of fun to see. I'm excited about this. Oscar Isaac is playing him. Oscar Isaac he's having a big year. He just was in Dune. Now this. I'm excited.
For those of you that's
hippopotamus song.
Yeah. Oh, number one on the charts, bro. Hippopotamus. I should grab my guitar and play it for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
Hilarious. Look it up on YouTube. It's fucking hilarious. It's on Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, but also for those of you that don't know, he was Poe Dameron in the new Star Wars sequels over the past few years. He's been in he's been in a lot, and
Yeah.
he's an incredible actor.
Yeah. He's the shit.
And you even hear him doing 2 different voices in the voiceover for this teaser. It's going to be great. This is probably
This is the one I'm most excited about
yeah,
right now.
that we have especially that we have teasers for. There's a couple I'm very excited for, but like this is the number one that I'm like.
I also know that this series and in like comics and stuff, Moon Knight has a very large ties to Blade and Black Knight, who we see Black Knight, who is Kit Harington's character in Eternals.
Dane Whitman.
And yeah, at the end of Eternals, we hear that voice, which we talked about last week, being Mahershala Ali as Blade. So I think we're going to get some mentions to both Black Knight and Blade. Hopefully a cameo would be amazing in the Moon Knight series, but we'll see what happens.
Be a great way to introduce Blade and Kit Harington's Dane Whitman as the Black Knight. Also, I'm really excited that Ethan Hawke is in this as like the main antagonist.
The bad guy, yeah.
I love Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
He's such a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, seriously, guys, the show is gonna be.
Wait, hold on. Oh my god, I'm gonna fuck. I read 2 different things that he's in, and I know he's a bad guy in both of them. Is he Dracula?
No, that's Luke Evans.
No. In something upcoming, Ethan Hawke is playing Dracula. I don't know.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Okay. Maybe, all right, not what I think it is. But anyways, yeah, I knew that he was in this, but I couldn't remember if he was the bad guy in Blade as Dracula or if he was the bad guy in this as something else. So I'll have to read about that. My bad for cross-contaminating Ethan Hawke. But
unless it's setting him up as Dracula, and that's kind of like the twist at the end of the season. We don't know.
Yeah,
we'll find out.
Yeah, we will find out.
Either way, Ethan Hawke is incredible.
We like to fuck around and find out when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, in a more corporate setting, we test those theories and discover their outcomes.
What else we got here? Well, you wanted to talk about this one big time was Echo.
Yes. So there's no footage for it yet, but we did get a confirmation that we're getting a spinoff of Echo. For those of you that don't know who Echo is, she is kind of like starts off more as like an anti-hero, but then kind of transitions into becoming a member of like the Young Avengers and just being a superhero in general. But she is the adoptive daughter of Kingpin, Wilson Fisk. And what's cool about that is that the theory that it ties into Hawkeye, which comes out next week, is that we get a lot of, for the trailers that we've seen, a handful of footage of the red tracksuit gangsters, squad, which is, they play a huge role in like Hawkeye comics, but the red tracksuit gang is run by Wilson Fisk or Kingpin, which has kind of already been hinted that he's going to be the big bad of Hawkeye because of that. And now that Echo's been like announced and confirmed, like it's all but confirmed that means that Wilson Fisk is going to be a huge deal in this.
And that brings us into Hawkeye, which comes out in like a week and a half. So
yeah, by the time you guys hear it, it'll be 1 week from today.
Yeah. I just looked it up just to be sure. Ethan Hawke is playing Dracula in Moon Knight.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but I can't see the letter.
Which mean that just brings that all together so much more.
Blade, Moon Knight.
Blade makes so much more sense now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Awesome.
So stepping away from the MCU for a second, we got the lamest quote unquote trailer for the most anticipated, at least for me, as someone who, was born in the 90s, grew up with the prequels.
Go back to the 90s.
And the sequels of Star Wars. Kenobi. I was excited to see like an actual teaser trailer for this series, and they called it a sizzle trailer, and it, don't get me wrong, it got me excited. I'm very much went 6 to midnight, but there was no actual footage from the upcoming show, and it made me very, very disappointed and very sad. But we do get Hayden Christensen coming back. There's some concept art.
We could have met him at Comic-Con, but it was too damn expensive.
It was awful.
And the line was fucking insane long.
Wanted like 3 times as much as what it cost for us to meet David Harbour and get...
Not that we settled for David Harbour. We love you, David Harbour.
No, that was our first choice. Well,
yeah.
Our first collective choice.
Yeah.
I would have given a kidney to meet Hayden Christensen. I don't know who would take it. It's probably very damaged based on how much we drink just from this podcast.
Well, and I think that here's the thing. We talked about this in New York, and I think he scolded me for it. But Hayden Christensen's just a really bad actor.
He's not.
He's really bad.
If you look at the prequels alone of Star Wars,
when he wasn't playing.
No, he was for 2 of the 3.
Oh, no, I know what you're saying. You're saying that it's supposed to be bad acted, but like...
1, it's supposed to be bad acting, and 2, the prequels really had not that great of writing. Like, but then also you look at like the movie like Jumper. Again, not the best writing. Cool movie. I believe in Hayden Christensen. I just do.
Sure. Okay.
That's all. Go ahead and talk about your stuff and things.
We're gonna go back to Marvel here. We got upcoming stuff. This isn't stuff that we have previews for. This is just stuff that we know is coming out soon. We figured it was worth mentioning. We have the Secret Invasion show.
I have a huge theory about that too.
Okay.
So, because with Infinity War, Endgame, we know Nick Fury gets snapped away. He comes back. And then we find out in Far From Home that Nick Fury is being portrayed, by a Skrull.
Mm-hmm. Well, set the thing up first. The Secret Invasion is basically about Skrulls playing main characters in the MCU and the comics.
Humans
Yeah.
In the comics, it's a little bit more of
hence the Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
But so the only thing that we have from Secret Invasion for like footage is Nick Fury looking old with a big beard.
Yeah.
That's about it. So my theory is that the Nick Fury that got snapped away was a Skrull. And there's no way for us to confirm that because Skrulls don't turn back to their natural form unless they die. But if they're snapped out of existence, their body doesn't have the opportunity to change back.
Interesting.
So, and we know that Sword has been developing and has been developed in the background. We even get it in Far From Home in credit scenes of Nick Fury like on a spaceship in deep space with a big base. My theory is that Nick Fury never got snapped away.
Interesting. Cool. We'll see.
And that's why he looks so old and weathered. While he's been in space, he hasn't been able to keep up on like his bro tea and all that. So he's just kind of like aged as everything's gone on, and that's why he looks so much older than the last time we saw him.
Yeah. Yeah, because he would have came back 5 years.
Like
not senior.
later.
Younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. We got the Miss Marvel Disney Plus show coming out soon. Chad doesn't like it because he's racist and thinks that an Indian girl should portray a
First
superhero.
off, she's not Indian. She's Pakistani. She's a Pakistani American. So first off, wrong.
I'm just fucking with you.
I know, but you can't do that because, hello, vanilla.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
No, the thing that bothers me most.
First Muslim character, which would be awesome.
Yeah, which is awesome. I'm really excited still for the show and to see Miss Marvel. The only thing that bothers me is that we get a glimpse in the teaser of her getting her powers, and it looks identical to how Captain Marvel got her.
Who's white, and that bothers you. I get it.
No, stop. The thing that bothers me is that the only reason that in the comics that Miss Marvel goes by Miss Marvel is because that she looks up to Captain Marvel.
Yes. Even copying her costume slightly.
Yeah, with like the color scheme and stuff like that. But in the comics, Miss Marvel is an Inhuman. She doesn't get her powers because like the Tesseract explodes next to her, which isn't even how Captain Marvel gets her powers. But that's how Captain Marvel got her powers in the MCU, and it just looks like they're doing the same sort of like cosmic energy just like blasted into the character. And it's like, we know that the X-Men are coming. There's been teases at all these characters that are Inhumans. Just be that the introduction. Let it be that, and we don't know any context for the scene that we see. So it still could be Terrigenesis. It could
be that it's dormant in her and she doesn't know about it, and then that blast like activates it.
Yeah.
As where like with Deadpool, like they injected him with the
X gene. Yeah.
And it took something to activate it in him. So it could be that she has the Inhuman gene, just doesn't know about it, and whatever they're doing here activates the gene. So they could give Marvel some credit.
I will. I'm hoping that they do it right, because what is shown in the teaser almost looks shot for shot how Brie Larson's Captain America, or Captain Marvel, not Captain America, sorry, gets her powers.
Yeah.
And it's like, just, that's not how it works. Like, let the Inhumans be a part of the story because they're a huge part of it. Yeah. That's a huge defining thing of Miss Marvel, is because she knows what it's like being, first generation of immigrant parents. So like, that's what draws her to the Inhumans, to fight for them and fight for, like, let that be a part of the story. It's a huge thing, and I really hope that they don't just shit on that origin story just to fit the cosmic blastings.
I'd give Marvel some credit. I think it'll be good.
I still think that the show will be good, but I'm frustrated with the tease that we have of her origin so far. Yeah. It's very early. I get that.
Moving on.
Okay, fine. We also get a handful of other like titles from like Armor Wars, the I Am Groot short series.
Well, hold on. Armor Wars. We get Sam Rockwell returning as Hammer. We get Don Cheadle returning as War Machine. I think this is a huge foot in the door for Iron Heart, which is the female version of Iron Man coming out.
Yes.
So this is Armor Wars isn't something that it's going to be a big deal. I think it's going to be a big deal going forward.
We just don't have. There's no like teaser for it.
Yeah. No, all of these that we've mentioned: Secret Invasion, Miss Marvel, Armor Wars. We don't have any previews for these yet.
Miss Marvel has a teaser to it, but
it's
very short.
Yeah. This is just kind of like the honorable mentions here.
But you also mentioned Ironheart, Riri, who is the young lady that reverse engineers Tony Stark tech to create her own Iron Man armor, and goes by Ironheart.
Mm-hmm. I'm also still hoping that maybe they'll introduce it in her series, but I still have my fucking hopes up real high for
Iron Lad. Get Harley.
Because they showed him at the end of Endgame. He was at the funeral. Like,
yeah.
And he was alone with Tony. We've said it on the podcast before. I'm going to say it again. I don't give a fuck. He was alone with Tony's suit, and the kid was an inventor. Yeah. He was alone with Tony's suit for a long period of time.
Plus, Tony gave him like a whole bunch of fucking tech.
A ton of shit, yeah. And then they show him for like there was no need for that kid to be at the funeral. He only met Tony like the one time. I feel like it's a huge hint from Marvel. I hope to God we're gonna get him too. And I am super excited about Ironheart as well. A female Iron Man. I'm all for it. I just would like to see Iron Lad as well. I think it'd be really cool. So,
yeah.
Anyways, sorry. I went off. Sorry I blew up.
No, dude, I've been like shitting on things for like a hot minute.
We got the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special coming out. I think it's like a 45 minute thing on Disney
Plus. Like a short film.
Yeah. I assume it'll tie into something. They don't really do anything for no reason. So
it's supposed to tie into Guardians 3. We'll see.
Yeah. I think it would be gratuitous but hilarious if they dress Groot up as the Christmas tree. That'd be fantastic.
And on top of that, because this is now Disney, Marvel, Star Wars is incorporated into that umbrella. I hope that they make reference to Life Day, which, for those of you that don't know, back in the late 70s, Star Wars had a made-for-TV Christmas special that was all about getting Chewbacca back home to his home planet in time for Life Day celebration, which is basically their Christmas. We find out that Chewbacca has a perverted grandfather, and Carrie Fisher sings for some reason. I hope that they reference it, just in some little way.
Cool. I mean, they have done it before. They did show in the very first Spider-Man Homecoming, when Ned finds out that Peter is Spider-Man, he's holding a Death Star like Lego thing and then drops it. So I mean, they do make subtle hints. So maybe. Yeah. Other than that, there's we have just a couple quick ones, real quick. New Spider-Man animated series coming out, and also that you posted to the Instagram, X-Men.
Yeah, X-Men 97, which is they're basically bringing back the animated series from the 90s.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're just going to continue that story. Mm-hmm. But since that's happened, we've gotten some incredible comic lines that we can incorporate into it. But also, you mentioned Spider-Man, but we also get Agatha, House of Darkness, the spinoff from WandaVision. I don't know. I was just like looking over this and I was like, we didn't do anything for that.
I literally just showed Nicole a picture of the poster for it on Instagram, and she's like, "Oh my god, it looks so awesome." And I was like, "Yeah, Agatha, House of Harkness, Agatha being the bad guy from WandaVision, is getting her own Disney Plus series as well." Yeah. So
more Catherine Hahn. You can never go wrong with that.
Never.
So with that, we have so much coming. It's gonna be great. Let's do that twice again.
It doesn't lose its
it's always
charm.
Funny. Always funny.
Its charm.
I'm here for charming. It every single time. With that being said, though, we are going to go ahead and close out this episode.
But before we do, we want to talk about our Patreon page. Go check us out there. You can check out our merch. Instagram.
Instagram, TikTok,
find
Facebook.
Us on the internet and or other places. Sorry, I brain farted.
Yeah. If you guys like what we're doing and you want to support us in any way, there's all these different ways to do it. The coolest one, in my opinion, is our Patreon page. You'll get...
I subscribe.
I do too. You'll get unedited versions of our interviews that we've been doing, as well as the opportunity to get exclusive merch, whether it be just larger stickers and stuff like that we don't put on our web store, coffee mugs, unique colors for t-shirts and hoodies, as well as a bunch of other great perks. So check it out. Otherwise, we do have our web store if you just want to like wear some stuff that represents us. That's cool too. But yeah, that's really about it. I mean,
We've had quite a few people do it, actually.
Yeah,
I mean, my girlfriend, obviously, but Shalone, Jaker,
John, who is one of our earlier guests.
Yeah.
And
Joe.
Yeah. We've had a lot of awesome
Both of your
interactions.
parents.
Yeah, both my parents, which has been really cool.
Yeah.
Where's your mom's
That's a lot
stuff?
of people, damn it. It's a lot.
As well as like some of our guests that we've had on here, like Jerry, as well as our producer Alan has merch too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's there. There's a huge variety, guys. There's something for everyone. And if there's something that you want that you don't see, like, hit us up. If we can make it happen, we'll do it.
We'll try to make it work, yeah. So.
Yeah. So we've got all that stuff. And, I mean, with that being said, guys, I mean, we love you. Like, thank you for being a part of this. It seriously means so much to us that we get to do this every week, because it started as just, like, drunken phone conversations. And now people listen to those same conversations, which is fun. Yeah. But yeah, so Jake, go ahead and wrap this up.
Well, first of all, we love you guys.
We love you.
This has been the All Things Nerd Podcast. Cheers.